Hey y'all, it's Amanda. I'm out in the backyard and my heirloom chrysanthemums are in full bloom. So I wanted to grab a few stems, but I also wanted to talk about stems from the grocery store. Have you ever received a gorgeous bouquet of flowers and wondered, can I grow these in my garden? Like, is that possible? Is that even a thing? And one of the things I always see in the grocery store bouquets that I'm obsessed with are the chrysanthemums. And so today we're gonna go pick up a bouquet of flowers from the local grocery store, and I'm gonna show you how to propagate them. So, can you really propagate from grocery store bouquets? Yeah, you totally can. If the stems are fresh and green, not woody or brittle, you should be able to propagate them. Many florist mums, which is going to be my focus in here, are hybrids. So quite frequently, they may not grow exactly like the mother plant, but you can get pretty close. The key to propagating bouquets like this is freshness. The fresher the bouquet, the better. Don't go buy the clearance bouquets that are older. Stick with a nice, healthy, fresh bouquet that just came out of the cooler. Okay, so one of the first things we have to do is we need to take cuttings of these plants. So I'm going to go ahead and start with opening up my bouquet. And I'm going to go ahead and separate out the pieces that I actually want to try to propagate and grow. So there's mums. I actually selected this one particular bouquet because it had so many different varieties of mums in it. And it would give me an opportunity to start several different kinds. And I think on a whim, I'm also going to try to propagate this carnation. We'll see. Okay, for cuttings, you want to work with the healthiest stems possible. You want to make sure they're nice and green. You don't want them to be slimy. You don't want them to be mushy. You don't want them to be really dark and look terrible. And then on the opposite side, you don't want them to be dry, brittle, or woody. Just nice, healthy stems is what you need for cuttings. You're also looking for about 4 to 6 inches of length per cutting. So typically on these stems, I should be able to get about at least 2, if not 3 cuttings from each stem. Now the key to making these cuttings is looking for a leaf node. A leaf node is anywhere on the stem where a leaf extends. There's typically a little bump. You can kind of see one right here. And you can see where this particular stem is forming little leaves already. That is a leaf node, and we need at least one leaf node to be under the soil line in order to produce roots, because the roots will come from that leaf node. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create labels based on each of these. All right, from here, we want to go ahead and take some cuttings. Now we have leaf nodes right here, multiple leaf nodes is great. We need at least one leaf node underneath the soil, 2 would be better. And then we need some above. So basically I'm going to come in, I'm going to count leaf nodes. I think I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to make a cut right there. So there is my first cutting. And then here I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make a cut right there. It's right below another leaf node. Then I'm going to look over here and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and make another one. Oh, we're going to get lots of cuttings, which I'm actually really excited. Now over here we're running into flowers, and I know this is going to look really sad, but we don't want the flowers. The flowers are going to suck all of the energy out. So yes, it's sad that we're trying to make more plants by getting rid of flowers. So I ended up with 4 cuttings from here. The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I remove my lower leaves. Those are the ones that are going to be going beneath the soil, and these leaf nodes will be going beneath the soil, so we don't want the leaves going beneath the soil. All right, let's do another cutting right here. We'll start from the top on this one. We'll go ahead and cut off our flower, which I know is super sad. It smells good though. And let's count down on leaf nodes. 1, 2, 3. We'll make this one a little bit. All right, and we'll cut 1, 2, 3. You can do 4 if you want. I think I'll switch to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got a little extra that I won't be able to use. All right, and then I'm going to remove the leaves from the parts that would typically go under the soil. I'm going to put those aside with their label. All right, and then let's finish all of this up. I will say on some of these larger leaves, I'll cut them in half so that this cutting doesn't have to support so much foliage. Okay, and then I am going to try to do a carnation. I've never done this one before, so I don't know if this is going to work. But we'll just try a couple cuttings. We just want to make sure that we've got at least one node underneath the soil. So we'll try those. All right, let me get rid of all of this. Okay, next thing we want to do is start preparing our soil. I've already got a lot mixed in here. This is just a regular potting mix. And then I'm going to go ahead and add more perlite. I wish I had even more perlite to add. Preferably, I wish I had 50% potting soil, 50% perlite, but this is what I got. So that's what we'll work with. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and fill containers. Now I'm working with basically like a pint size, or one of the small bedding plant size containers. We're not packing the soil in. The soil is going to be kind of loose. All right, next I'm going to take a tray and I'm going to go ahead and line up all of my containers in here. As many as I can fit. I might have to go to another tray. All right, and then I was just thinking, I don't want this overcrowded, so I am going to pull some of these out because we are going to need to cover these with some plastic bags, and that'll be way easier if I have less per container. So I'm going to go ahead with this container and fill it up halfway with water so that these can start soaking up all that water. I'm going to need to get another container. I'm kind of putting them in groups of like 2 and 3 because I'm going to be working with the gallon size bags. And I think that 2 to 3 is about all that it can handle. It's gallon size Ziploc bags. Okay, the next thing I want to do is work with my rooting powder. This is not required, but I personally feel that it helps a lot. And I'm going to dump it all in here because I feel like it's easier to work with in here. And then all I'm going to end up doing with my cuttings is basically get them a little wet on the end and then come in here with my rooting powder, making sure that I am getting that first leaf node that is going to go under the soil. You can tap off the extra, but we want to make sure that we do that. A little tedious, and I mean these leaf nodes, I mean this rooting hormone isn't cheap, but it goes a long way, it lasts a long time, and I think in the end that it is worth it. Once we have them dipped in the rooting hormone, I'm just going to use a paintbrush to kind of open up the soil, and then I'm going to push the cutting down into the soil. I'm not trying to get the cutting all the way to the very base. I'm trying to aim for probably hitting right about above the bottom third. Now you can also put multiple cuttings into one container. Actually, maybe I'll show you what that looks like too. I think with this one, I'll just come over here to the side. I think because I have a lot of this one particular variety. So on some of them, I can go ahead and put 3 cuttings in one of these square, because once these start to sprout roots, then we'll move them to larger containers. And I'll go ahead and leave these other 2. Actually, no, I won't. So I've got a set of 3 of that particular variety together. And I'll go ahead and put its label with it. All right, and those 2 are number 6. Okay, and then when I'm done, I put my rooting hormone back in, and I just pour it in right like this. Oh, let me get this tighter. Okay, so what we just completed there is the in-soil method to start propagation. So we fill a small pot with soil and mix in a lot of perlite, and then we insert cuttings so that at least one node is below the surface of the soil. We cover these with a plastic dome. So I don't have big giant plastic domes to be able to handle these. So what I'm going to do is I've got some gallon bags, and I'm just going to come over and I'm going to work them over a cutting just like this and nestle them down. And I think that this is a more cost-effective way because I can reuse these bags for years to come. And then I also don't have to go buy the big domes or anything like that. This works better for me. And it's so important to keep these moist. Keeping them moist will help them produce roots. If they dry out, they will not produce roots. And I did try these carnations. We'll see what happens. That'll be a really fun experiment. All right, so these need bright indirect light. And the best place for those is going to be this particular area of my seed starting space, because the light's not super intense. I can also see it really well, which that's another thing. You're gonna have to check on these cuttings on a daily basis. So I can put them up here and really keep an eye on them on a daily basis. All right, let's go ahead and do this set. Now, the other option, if you don't want to propagate in soil, is you can propagate in water. You're basically following all the same tips that we just did, but instead of putting them in the soil, you're going to put them in a container of water. I find little bottles work really, really well. Small, what do you call it? Cups work nice. Even little like vials, science vials or lab vials, those work really good too. And you can have luck with that. If you decide to do that process, the water process, as opposed to the soil, it takes about 10 to 14 days for roots to form in water. And then once they form, you will need to transplant to soil. Now, if you're doing the soil process, like what I am doing, it typically takes about, it was 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks for roots to form. Nice. All right. I feel really good about that. So I bought that bouquet for like 20 bucks. Even if I get 3 or 4 cuttings, it's totally worth it. I think it's really fun to experiment. This is kind of fun stuff to do if you receive a bouquet, like if for your birthday or an anniversary or something, you receive a bouquet, just snag out 1 or 2 stems. As soon as you get it, don't wait till the bouquet dies and starts to look terrible. Snag out 1 or 2 stems early as soon as you get it and go ahead and try to propagate them. It's a really fun way to kind of continue on, especially if they end up rooting and you can grow them in your garden. Then you have that bouquet someone gave you for years to come. But I think this is just a really fun way to be able to propagate, to try some new plants for very, very little money. Okay, I counted 37 cuttings. If I end up with 37 plants, that would be ridiculous. I'm sure I won't have that kind of luck. If I had 50% luck, that would still be amazing. That'd be 16, 18 plants, which would be super cool. So definitely a really fun thing to try. So after rooting, how do we care for our new plants? So once the roots are 1 to 2 inches long, you want to transplant them into small pots with standard potting mix. Remember, this right now has a whole bunch of perlite in it. So I would transfer it into just a basic potting mix at that point. And then you want to keep them in a bright light indoors, watering when the top inch of the soil feels dry. And also at that time, once they've rooted in 2 to 3 weeks, you can remove these domes as well. Don't throw your plastic bags away, save those. Transplant them into new containers with just basic potting soil, and then making sure they're in light. This light is on 12 to 14 hours per day. You want to fertilize them lightly every 2 to 3 weeks with a diluted balanced fertilizer. I typically do Alaskan fish emulsion, although I finally ran out, so I'm going to be switching to something else. Hopefully something that doesn't smell as bad, but we'll see. As spring approaches, you want to start pinching back the growth tips to encourage bushier growth in these. And like I said, I'm going to totally have these in a future video, so I'll be able to give you follow-ups. And then finally, once you get closer and you get past your last frost date, go ahead and harden these off outside and then get them transplanted into your garden. Okay, so let's say you make it through the whole process. You propagate these, they root. You make it to spring, you harden them off, you plant them outside. What should you expect at that point in time? Your propagated mums will likely bloom the following fall, not immediately that spring, but that fall coming up. They should bloom. They might not be massive because this is only from a cutting, but they should bloom. And after a couple of years, because I've done several cuttings with mums in the past, you will have big, gorgeous, beautiful plants. Colors and forms, so what these typically look like, it may vary slightly compared to the mother plant, but it's still going to be part of the fun because you never know what you're going to end up with. You might end up with something even cooler than what you're originally thinking. And that's because a lot of the hybrids that are used by florists, like this kind of situation, all of those mums are hybrids. And so they don't necessarily produce the same plant from the cuttings. Smells good. Once established, mums are hardy perennials in Texas Zone 8 and can be divided or propagated again the next year, which is awesome. So you can have tons and tons of mums. I've got tons of mums right now. They typically bloom profusely in the month of November for me, which is a really fun time because I don't typically have a ton of flowers in my garden in November. So I just love that about them. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Drop me a comment below. Let me know if you're willing to try this. Let me know if you've already tried to do this before, propagated from a grocery store bouquet. You can definitely do roses. There's a lot of other different types of flowers that you can do. I just thought this time of the year, doing the chrysanthemums would be really fun and really focusing on a lot of different varieties that I don't currently have in my garden. So let me know if you're willing to give it a try. And if you are like me and you are on a gardening journey and you're like so many of my gardening friends also on your own gardening journey, be sure to check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. It's a bunch of people who like to talk about gardening. It's a really great group. I typically have I have a free tier, which you can go in, and then today for the free tier on Patreon, you can download a propagation guide if you would like to utilize that to go ahead and propagate some of your own flowers from your own bouquets. That is available for free. Or you can also join the Certified Mad Gardener level, and that gives you access to everything, including all those free downloads, but also lives, exclusive videos, online content, photo sharing, and group chats. So it's a really great community to come in and ask questions, learn, and grow with each other. All right, you all, as always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.